Welcome to the Mindful Healers Podcast with
Dr. Jessie Mahoney
and Dr. Ni-Cheng Liang.
We are here to help you learn to pause and be present, awaken your breath, and harness the ripple effects of mindfulness for radiant health.
We get you. We know you. We are you.
We have both been successful on the surface, yet struggling underneath. We have both had cluttered brains, been overwhelmed, and exhausted.
We're healers who have found solutions and want to share them with you.
Join us here to discover a better way.
Welcome to the Mindful Healers Podcast. Today's episode is focused on mindful gift giving, mindful consumerism, and mindful holidays. What would love gift? How would love show up for the holidays? Today is going to be a solocast talking about one of my favorite topics, mindful minimalism, mindful gifting, mindful consumerism, mindful shopping, mindful living. The intention of today's episode is to share the idea of gift giving as an act of love. When you tap into the spirit of giving and let the pressure of giving and gifting and holidays fall away, you can find a renewed sense of joy in how you approach gifting and shopping and the whole holiday period. I hope you will discover through listening that there is not a tug of war between gifting and not gifting, consumerism and not. It's also not about gifting experiences. Mindful gift giving is an opportunity to be mindful and intentional about the gift giving process and the experience for both the giver and the receiver. Takeaways from today's episode are when you step out of obligation and into mindfulness and intention, gift giving is a beautiful experience. Gift giving is one of the most effective ways to boost your own well-being when done mindfully rather than mindlessly. Gift giving is also a way to connect back to love, to connect with other humans and the beauty of holidays, and to honor your relationships and special occasions with loved ones. Why this podcast episode? This podcast episode was really inspired by Black Friday and the concept of the deals and the consumerism culture around the holidays. I do a ton of coaching on people who truly love the holidays and find the period so special and so warm and so important to them. And yet they also are overwhelmed and stressed and miss out on the joy of it because they're so busy with the doing and the buying and the planning and the cooking and the decorating. We also spend over $16 billion on unwanted gifts every year. And so there must be some way to approach gift giving where we can get back to some of these roots of honoring connections and having gift giving be an act of love and connection rather than a consumer act and a monetary act and an act that has potentially significant impacts on the world and the earth and the planet. So my personal story is that I have gone in both directions as a mom. Christmas and December, we celebrate Christmas in my house, used to be my absolute favorite holiday. And when I was growing up, I would spend tons of time decorating things just right. I loved Christmas trees. I loved picking it out. I always spent tons of time picking out the exact right one. And I loved presents, and I loved wrapping presents, and I loved Christmas lists. And this went on all through even my teenage years. I was sort of the one who organized Christmas in my house. And then when I had my own kids, I continued to organize Christmas, and I continued to do so much to make it just right and to have lots of experiences for my kids, and spent a lot of time doing the Christmas shopping and the holiday gifting for everyone in my family. In-laws, my parents, relatives, etc. And then, interestingly, I burnt out. I burnt out on Christmas. And so I then decided that I just wanted to go away somewhere and not do any gifting because I had just had enough. And so for a while, we would go somewhere to the snow or into nature, and we would do something. My kids did not necessarily appreciate it. They thought the trip was fun, but they also still wanted to do Christmas and what they remembered of Christmas. And for a while, I even let other people get the tree and other people deal with the meals and other people deal with all of it. And I just sort of showed up. And now, after doing my mindfulness work and my self-coaching work, I'm back somewhere in the middle, because there is 100% value in the connection and relationships and the joy and delight of the holiday. Many people I work with talk about the warmth and the love and the connection and the beauty of lights. Lights are healing, lights are hopeful. Holidays are a time of genuine meaning and connection between families, and a chance for people from near and far to get together and to express their love for one another. And so it isn't that they are bad or gifting is bad or the decorating is bad. And even a minimalist approach to it wouldn't do none of it. It would be mindful about it. And so even Mother Teresa says, it's not how much we give, but how much love we put into giving. And so as we think about gift giving, I want to acknowledge that giving is a Buddhist practice. It's about generosity. It's about openness. It's about holding others with love and compassion. It has, in our American culture, been taken over with shopping and consumerism, and really even as a way, if you think about our work environments, of obligatory gifts and acknowledgements, et cetera. But if you get back to the roots of giving and thinking about the opportunity to express gratitude and be generous and open and holding others with love and compassion, there's beauty and importance there. So giving gifts is 100% an opportunity. It's a chance to go beyond ourselves and step out of our worries and our personal challenges. It's good for our well-being, and it brings important perspective for our own blessings and treasures, and to connect with others. Gifting is a transformative experience for both the giver and the receiver. It's actually so important for the receiver as well as the giver, something that we often discount. And I think that for those of you who are potentially the moms in your household who may be doing all the gifting, it becomes more of a duty, and rather we get away from the beauty of the gifting experience itself. Gift giving is also somewhat of a vulnerable experience for both the giver and receiver. If you think back to very early on in perhaps an intimate, loving relationship, the importance of those gifts and the vulnerability of sort of showing who you are and noticing who the other person is. There is a deep human connection when we choose to honor our relationship and another human with a very special, specific gift. And so a mindful way to approach gift giving, even in this sort of consumerist holiday month, would be to tap back into the experience and energy of gift giving and connecting to not the things, not the experiences or the gift itself, but the act of giving. So gift giving also comes with lots of negatives. There's a huge monetary cost, $16 billion of things people don't want, in addition to all the things that they do want. Gift giving also has an impact on the earth. Everything you spend money on is sort of a political action. The way we spend our money, the gifts we buy, says something about who we are and what we believe in. And the amount of stuff that you end up with, thinking perhaps of the parents of toddlers, for example, there's more stuff to clean, more stuff to organize, more stuff to get rid of, more stuff to live with, which energetically influences your life and how you feel and what you do with your time and energy, which are really your most precious resources. And then thinking about things like Black Friday, we get swept into the consumerism of it. But even at 75% off, purchasing something has a cost. So there's a cost just to having it once you have it. And you still are paying, you lose on the 25% of whatever you pay for. And so gift giving is quite of a challenge. And Joshua Becker, who's one of my favorite minimalist gurus, talks about we don't have to continue traditions that leave us broke, overwhelmed, and tired. He also says that there's nothing you can buy this weekend or over the holidays to make you content if you're not already content. And I think we often think that buying things will change how we feel, and buying things and gifting things to others might change how we feel about them. And so bringing a minimalist approach to your life, realizing that the less stuff you have, the less energy and time and money are needed to maintain, store, and organize, is a powerful way of thinking about what you purchase, and realizing that you don't want to be giving someone things that they then, or the parents perhaps of children, then have to store, etc. And so being conscious of that as you do give your gift giving, the impact of your gift on the other person. The other thing that I think is relevant is thinking about your manual for holidays. And the manual is your expectations. We all have crazy expectations, the way we grew up, what we think it should look like, what's important. And when you combine your life with another person, they also have a manual of what's important. And it may change our thinking just in terms of how you want to live your life. When you tap into mindfulness and intention and start to live in alignment, you may want to reflect and change how you approach holiday traditions. You may want to see what in your holiday traditions are actually habit, but maybe perhaps not truly meaningful anymore. What of your holiday traditions are people pleasing? And what if your legacy was how you loved and how you showed up and how you felt, rather than all of the things? So tapping back into the positive, what if gifting was an act of love? And what if gifting in the holiday time period was an act of connection? If you could step out of obligation and step out of giving gifts for the sake of gifting, what could gift giving look like, both as the giver and to the receiver? How might it feel different? What if you stepped out of mindless gift giving and tapped into instead mindful gift giving? And so when I speak of mindless gift giving, that's the gift giving fueled by sales, scarcity, pressure, obligation, expectation. Mindful gift giving is tapping into the love and connection as the integral component of the gifting experience, tapping into the experience of gifting in and of itself. And so when gift giving is done mindfully, it is really a chance to explore yourself, who you are, who the receiver is, and what your relationship means. It's also a chance to experience delight. We talk in a previous podcast episode about being mindful of delight. And delight is one of the things that comes up when I think of the holidays, when you get that gift just right, and the excitement that someone feels when they open up a surprise. Genuine surprise is truly delight. It's beautiful and it's joyful. It's also really good for your health and well-being to give and donate to someone else. When we spend money on someone else, the impact on our health is much better than if we spend the money on ourselves. So what does mindful gift giving look like? What could you change so that it would be more in alignment for you, less stressful, more easeful? My first offering would be noticing and showing up for the gift giving process and experience, noticing your expectations, the ones that you're coming with. How much money should you spend? What should the gifting between you and this other person look like? What is it supposed to look like? Just notice what expectations you're bringing to the table. What habits are you bringing? Habitual thoughts, scarcity mindset, people pleasing. Perhaps more gifts is better. How is consumerism and our consumption-oriented culture playing in? What are the stories that you tell about gifting? How much do you equate buying things and being happy and gifting more things and making children happy? And what if the gift you pick is not right? Do you need a replacement gift? Thinking about all of these things and how they play into your gifting gives you a chance to release things that don't serve you, release expectations, and come to it with curiosity, non-judgment, and a beginner's mind. Coming to it with specific intention. What's your intention as a giver? Is it perhaps to foster connection? Is it perhaps to show up for gift giving sustainably? Is it perhaps to nourish yourself and others? Perhaps it's to inspire others. Perhaps it's to make it simple. And then remembering that gift giving is an act of love for both you and the receiver. So love would not spend money you don't have. Love would not make it super complicated and bring yourself to a place of exhaustion and burnout. The other thing to bring to mind is, what are the needs and interests of the person you're giving it to? What is the impact on the environment? How much of your approach to gift giving is fueled by consumer culture? How much do you want it to be fueled by consumer culture? Realizing that, of course, marketing is designed to tap into our insecurities and our inadequacies and to make us feel that we need something or we will miss out. So tapping in with intention to how you want to show up for all of that. Also tapping into, with intention, what is the message you want to share with your children, with your families about gift giving? How do you want them to think about how we approach gift giving in the world? And reminding yourself that all the ways in which you spend money and you approach gift giving are a statement about what you believe in, and they have a tremendous impact. And so that's where getting back into the intention of the situation can be a useful tool. If you decide, for example, that you want your gifts one year to have a theme, say connection, that can guide you and make the process a little bit more simple and easeful. Or perhaps your theme is inspiration, or perhaps your theme for a year is green or sustainable. Perhaps your theme is love. And so you could use that as a way to help guide your decision-making in the gift-giving process, if it helps. I wanted to reflect for a few minutes on conscious gift giving as well. Conscious gifting in conscious minimalism is a little bit of a different approach than mindful. So conscious is really getting into our purchases and as an environmental issue and as a political issue. And so it really focuses on sustainability, locally made gifts, who makes the gifts, how they're sourced, where they come from. It's really a conversation for another day, but it may be a very strong piece of your own mindful gift giving if those issues are of paramount importance to you. And it's certainly something to think about. Remembering that every time you spend money and every time you give gifts, you're casting a vote for the kind of world that you want to live in. So I also wanted to reflect for a moment on receiving gifts, because many of us who are the primary gift givers in our household struggle with receiving. And I know this from experience working with many high achieving women who really do struggle with receiving gifts. We tend to deflect, we tend to minimize. We often feel very uncomfortable when someone gifts us something nice. We have a hard time accepting it and owning it, acknowledging it, letting it in. And so noticing if perhaps you have that, I often refer to it as challenges with the capacity to have. And allowing yourself to realize that this might be an issue for you, and then practicing allowing it, practicing allowing someone to do something really nice for you, and truly just appreciating it. Realizing that when we minimize and we feel uncomfortable, it's a little bit a negative to the person who went to so much effort to get us this gift. And it comes from a place usually of feeling not enough or not worth it, and perhaps just not being willing to shine or be in the limelight. And so just noticing if this is hard for you and making an intention perhaps for the year ahead or this holiday season to practice receiving. Can it be fun to receive? What could that feel like? Because when we change how we receive gifts, it also makes the process and the experience of giving gifts that much better as well. The last piece of reflection for this podcast on mindful gift giving and holidays is just thinking about the holiday itself mindfully and thinking about not just gift giving and consumerism, but also the decorations and the traditions and the socializing. And I work with many people who struggle with things not looking the way they think they should, or having an attachment to very specific traditions. And what it comes down to for most of them is the feelings that these traditions bring back. And people very much want to feel warmth and love and connection. And that's really what the eggnog and the tree trimming and the decorating does. It's the association with family and love and warmth and safety and security. And so realizing that that's what you want. And where do you have that in your life? Especially if, say, you're going through a divorce and things look different, or you're going through a home renovation and you can't decorate. How can you create these important feelings with different traditions or different experiences? And how can you honor the fact that these feel very important to you, but perhaps they can be created in another way? So as usual, I will end today's podcast with some reflection questions. How can mindfulness and intention change your holiday giving and receiving experience? How can the holiday giving experience be simple? What feelings do you want to have throughout the month of December? Can you set an intention for the month? That's a feeling. And focus your decision making around that. How would love, connection, warmth, and joy show up for the holidays? What if less is more? And finally, what would love gift? If you enjoyed this episode, we would be most grateful if you would leave us stars and reviews so others can find us. And please consider gifting yourself either coaching or a retreat to help you have the best 2022 possible. Please stay on after the sound of the singing bowl for today's mindful moment. May you all have a calm, peaceful, mindful, and intentional December.
As always, if you want to declutter your mind, be more present, and start truly living your one wild and precious life, come find us at the mindfulhealerspodcast.com.
Work with one of us.
Work with both of us.
Start or uplevel your mindfulness practice.
Discover how mindful coaching can change your life.
Or even better, do both as part of our Mindful Healers programs and retreats. You can find links to find out more about our programs and join our communities at themindfulhealerspodcast.com.
Reach out and get started on your journey to a life better lived today.
The content of this podcast is not meant to be medical or life advice. If you choose to participate in our mindful moments, please do so safely.
Welcome to today's mindful moment. A few minutes reflecting on the magic and feeling of the holiday season. Taking a moment to relax and notice where you are and pause. If you're seated, take a moment to ground your sit bones into whatever you happen to be sitting on. If you're walking, pause and notice the soles of your feet on the earth. If you're driving or engaged in some other activity, please opt out. Give yourself a few moments just to arrive back in your body, bringing your mind and your body back into the same place. Perhaps notice if there's to-do lists in your brain, worries, lots of overwhelm, stress, places to go, and things to do. And for a few moments here, just let those worries wash away. And take in a long, deep inhale through your nose and an exhale through your mouth, allowing yourself to connect back to your body. Bring a hand to heart and another hand to top, and just notice the gentle pressure connecting to your heart space, your heart beating seamlessly, beat after beat after beat. And noticing that when you're in your body, the world is a bit more calm. Take another deep inhale through your mouth and out your mouth and through your nose and out your nose and in your nose and out your nose and in your nose and out your mouth. Just notice how perhaps you feel much more settled, much more calm. And then allow yourself a gift. Thinking about the things of the holiday season that you most enjoy. Perhaps twinkling lights, perhaps the music, perhaps the smell of a favorite recipe. Allow your brain to go to those favorite memories. What is it that brings joy in the holiday season? And can you focus on that? Perhaps a crackling fire, snowy nighttime walks, the delight on a child's face when they see Christmas morning, if you happen to celebrate. Twinkling lights everywhere. Perhaps eggnog, Christmas carols, music. What is it that creates those feelings of the holidays that most people love so much? And keeping that vision in your mind's eye, connect to the feeling that comes when you think about the music and think about the smells and the sounds. And allow that feeling to spread throughout. For many, it's warmth, joy, connection, and love. Breathing in the warmth and breathing out the cold and the tension. Breathing in the joy. Breathing out the frustration. Breathing in peace. Breathing out worry. Breathing in love. And breathing out tension. Take a moment to think about all the ways in which you have beautiful connections in your life, in your home, and acknowledge those. Enjoy them. And once again, in your mind's eye, going back to the vision of the lights, the sounds, the smells of the holiday, and letting those feelings associated with those circulate through you for a few moments. Knowing that these thoughts and feelings are available to you at any time. They are not dependent on how many presents are there, how much food is there, how many Christmas parties, holiday parties, secret gift exchanges you're a part of. So, can you, with intention, bring yourself into that moment of holiday joy once again? At least once a day during the month of December, can you pause and be present? Breathe in a long, deep inhale and a huge exhale, letting the stress go. And enjoy the sounds, the smells, the delight, the connection, the warmth, and the love spread through you. Knowing that those feelings are truly what the holiday is about. Bring your hands to heart center and take a moment to connect with your intention for December. I offer the option of light and love. And if you connect to that intention of light and love, how might your days and weeks ahead in this darkest month of the year look? How can you bring in more light and more love? May you all have a happy December, no matter what holiday you celebrate, and a very happy new year. Namaste.